proving that finding yourself sometimes takes moving across the country is something that I got to learn when I sat down with my friend, Wendy Maybury. So Wendy, okay, so I'm sorry that I encouraged you to come outside today because it's super humid.
It's okay.
And you were holding up much better than I am, I'm gonna be honest with, right from the start.
I'm from the South.
But you're like me, you came from someplace that was really warm.
Yeah.
So are you like surprised when like things get hot here? I was not expecting this when we moved here, that it would be this hot.
Yeah, but it's only like 30 minutes every year, so it's not that bad.
True.
But it is a real intense. And then the funny part is no one's used to it, so everyone's sweltering. They're like, I'm puddling. They just die. So, yeah.
And I think it's, you know, people ask me this all the time as someone who did not grow up in the Midwest.
Yeah.
And you get here, and it is kind of something that you go, oh, I never noticed this thing about my personality until you get here and you see that it's kind of a cultural thing that you've had since you were a little kid.
Oh, absolutely. And I think if you've, one of the great things about the States is that there's so many different subcultures in one country. It's so cool, and you don't really get it till you get a chance to travel.
Right.
And, you know, I lived in New Mexico, Virginia, New York, LA, on a boat for a while, in Minneapolis, in Alabama. Like, it's, you had to get your passport stamped to go all these different places. But the cool part is you get to take whatever you like from every place. You don't have to be one kind of person. So.
And I also want to talk to you about this. You told me a story about one of your, what you mentioned was one of like your favorite compliments, and somebody said that you were most like yourself on stage as you were off stage, and you don't hear that a lot about performers.
Yeah, well, a lot of people have a character that they do, or they have an act, or they keep it very separate. And for me, to make life simple, because of my own experiences, I've decided to be the same person I am with the pastor of a church, my parents, my son, people at work. It's like, this is it. And you can like it or not like it, but I'm real done trying to make you happy by changing who I am wherever I am. So I try really hard to just be me and stand in that. I think that's a good lesson for everybody.
And I agree with you. Like when you're trying to figure out what version of you you're going to be today, or
it's exhausting.
Is it cool to me? Right. Like how can you keep up with all of that?
And you don't know what they want anyway.
Right.
So you're making an assumption on what someone wants to get from you, and you have no idea what they're looking for. So just do you and let them worry about that crap. It's really none of your business. So
when if somebody asks you, okay, what's Wendy Maybury's story? Like if you had a highlight reel of it, what do you pick first?
Military brat, born abroad.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was born, we lived in a small Japanese village. I was the only white kid other than my parents. So when we moved to the States, I thought I was related to all the white people. I'm like, oh my God, hi. My mom's like, we don't know them. Like, just stop that. Like, what are you doing? And I was also, she said I was blown away by cemeteries. I'm like, this many people have already died? Because we lived in this tiny little village in Japan. And then we moved to New Mexico where no one spoke Japanese. So even though I did, I forgot it. Made a brother. Moved to Virginia, kind of went to college, and then I really wanted to have adventure from a very tiny age. I was an Indiana Jones girl, the 80s, Goonies, I wanted an adventure. So I became an exchange student and moved to Germany and lived there on my own at 16 and broke my leg, which was very exciting. It's a good story. Anyway, and then moved back, lived on a riverboat, moved to New York, moved to LA. I remember there was that Baz Luhrmann song about like wear sunscreen. Where it was like move to LA and leave before you're too soft, and move to New York and leave before you're too hard. I did that song.
You did it.
I took the advice.
You're like, I'm living this.
I'm going. And then I moved to Minneapolis on a fluke and got a job here. And I really like it. Because normally it's colder than this. You can wear a sweater, not schwitz.
I know.
Unfortunately, not today.
And plus, I moved here because I'm not one of those ladylike sweaters. Like, I don't glisten. Like, I'm
I puddle.
Yeah, exactly.
Just,
me too.
Yeah, it's not pretty.
But I like feeling like that kindred spirit with you, because people, I don't know how they when they hear your story of I've been all these places, I've done all these things, do they often just look kind of stunned, like I could never, or how
Yeah,
do
you hear everybody always say that, like, well, how did you? And I'm like, I just said yes. Like people said, do you want to go live on a riverboat? Sure. Do you want to go? Sure. Okay. And then sometimes it was crazy. Like I didn't move to New York City because I was afraid of it. I would commute 4 hours every day from Massachusetts. And then one time at work, I was like yawning, and I worked for this really famous photographer named Mary Ellen Mark. Her husband's British, and he goes, "Are we boring you?" And I'm like, "Well, actually, I have to get up at 4 in the morning to do this job." And he goes, "I had no idea, Mary Ellen. She gets up at 4 in the morning." Like, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm trying really hard, guys. I'm hustling." And so I just was never afraid to try hard. Oh, that guy.
Too much. See, I told you what. Oh, look, they came to us like we spent all this time getting away from that, and now they're driving up the street towards us.
It's like a Segway. It's like
a construction Segway.
The least cool Segway.
Where is he going?
Is that like the millennial job on the construction site?
Oh, because he needs a ramp of things.
Oh, that's
so they had to come all the way.
gives me a chance to wipe my sweat. I actually wrote a joke where I wiped my sweat because remember when I was fat, I would be very sweaty.
Oh, okay.
So I wrote a joke that had a face wipe because I knew I would, and I would do it when I needed to wipe my face.
Right.
That's
I know. I didn't have that joke, but what I did have a joke when I had my braces as a grown up, and so I remember that. I knew I had to go get a drink. And so honestly, that was the surprising things that are good for you that you don't know are going to be good for you. When I got my braces and I had them on for those 2 years, it really made me work on my pacing because before that, I was like, oh, I can't stop and take a drink because it'll throw everybody off and I'm not allowed to. And then I got my braces and there's no way I could talk for, 20, half an hour, 40 minutes without taking a drink. Yeah. So I just had to go slow down, and this is a spot where you just need to stop talking for a minute.
It's good to have to do that.
Yeah, and it just taught me nobody died. Everybody's fine.
And there's no rules.
Right.
I mean, oh my God, the first time I went to Acme, first time I ever got on stage was Acme.
Right.
Because I didn't know there was other options.
Right.
I didn't have any friends in comedy. And so I'm in front of Acme, and John Wilson says to me, what jokes are you going to do? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to do a joke about, I don't remember now.
Right.
A joke about winter or something. He goes, can't do that. So-and-so's already has material on winter. And I'm like, I don't even know who that is.
Right.
Like you can't tell me when starting comedy you can't do something that someone doesn't have a joke about because they've all been done.
Right.
But the rules are really big with people's brains. And I think it's a way to keep you in a cage. And something with I can't move. I can't go anywhere.
Right.
It's like, oh, I could never leave this place. Or, I mean, I left my senior year. I didn't go to prom. Who cares about prom? I got to go live in Europe.
Right. And I didn't go to prom either, so high five for the people that don't go.
I was on a video club, so actually the junior year I videoed prom because I was in the AV club.
I don't remember why I didn't go junior year other than I was probably doing something. I was like in all the things. So I had an ROTC thing or something that time. So I went to the military ball.
You're so rotsy.
But then I was very rotsy. I was supposed to be, I went to the Air Force Academy, so I used to be smart.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I love that about you. Okay, sorry.
So, no,
that's
sorry
super
about
cool.
What? No, we're fine. And then
so cool.
It's funny, my senior year, I was also the captain of our mock trial team. And we made it to nationals. And nationals, so nationals and mock trial were the same time as prom.
Yeah,
so I got to go to New Orleans and hang out. And I remember I was dating a guy and he was younger than I was. And so, but he was also on the mock trial team with me. And he was seriously wounded that he didn't get to go to prom. Because that was his ticket to prom. I'm like, we're going to New Orleans on a trip and they're paying for it. And
have you been in New Orleans?
Right, and he hadn't. But I think it was actually, for some reason, and then we'll get back on topic, it was more important to me to be able to go on that trip because I didn't come from a family that had vacation money.
Yes,
we didn't go places. And so the fact that I was going to get to go someplace, and it was like, all those trips were highly important to me. Like anytime, our ROTC would go to San Diego every year, or, some other program that I was in went to San Francisco to go visit a college. And I was like really impressed by that because we weren't take time off, get to go anyplace. So every vacation you had from school, it was just in the house trying to find something to do. So I was always excited. So as soon as I got older and to our version of economical stability, I always leave. I've just traveled and moved and left, and that's part of the reason why
I didn't realize our nerd vein is the same nerd
vein.
I knew we had some similarities. You know, like there's always like the nerd posse and there's the Star Wars people and the, and the Doctor Whovians.
And you can like all of them.
Yeah,
but what's your main family?
Debate, AV, those are all my jams.
The other thing that we have in common is we're both part of the single mom troupe now.
Yes.
So my kid's 12. Your kid, how old is she
6 now?
6. That is an adorable age. I know it's also an exhausting age.
It is. But it is. I'm leaning into adorable because I didn't think I was going to be a mom at all. Right. That was a surprise. And I'm really grateful it's happened. And I think he's the only one. So I've just, every time it's annoying, I think, remember all those times you were so lonely?
Agreed.
And you didn't have a kid and now you do have one going, mom, 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 mom. And you're like, okay, dude. So
but you do a great job, and I appreciate what you do share about it because I think it's a very realistic view of parenting, where you don't only put up all of the amazing sitcom things of it. It's like sometimes it's hard and sometimes it's messy and sometimes I don't. Right, and I don't feel pretty today. I feel gross and I'm chasing them. And I think it's very authentic of you to be able to share that story.
Well, I think that marriage and parenthood can be very isolating. Right. Because there's people who assume like as soon as you get married, everything's great and it's problem solved. As soon as you have a parent, it's just like this, like you just said, it's like the commercials and everything's amazing and it's exhausting. And then when you feel the problem with Instagram and Facebook and social media is you're seeing everyone's highlight reel. Right. Like you just said, you think, God, I'm in the shit. Like, what is going on? Sorry.
Why is it me? Why am I the problem?
Why does everything suck over here and everyone else is beautiful on this Instagram lady's feed? And then it's just not real. No. So that's part again about being authentically you. It's like I'm trying really hard to make people feel alone. So my mom is so good at cutting me. Anyway, she said, I said to her, I posted a picture of my house one time, and she goes, I can't believe you posted a picture with your house that dirty. And I said, Mom, I don't want my friends to think I'm perfect. And my mom goes, don't worry, nobody thinks you're perfect.
Thank you, Mom.
I'm like, thanks. That's so my mother right there in a nutshell. No, nobody thinks you're perfect. Easy.
I get that. I get that. That's another thing we have in common. I have
yeah,
that mom too.
A very big reality checking mom. And my mom, I don't know if your mom feels this way, but my mom feels like any activity not directly related to procuring a mate is really a waste of time.
You know, my mom's almost the opposite.
Oh, that's
like
good.
my mom is so entrenched with, you got this, that she will poke holes in the theory of a guy.
Oh God! Before she
I even get that, kind of thing. So she's like the fact that I'm on online dating stresses her out. She finds it disgusting, and she's like, no, you're gonna get murdered. And I'm like, maybe, but not just because of this. Like just because people get murdered.
Maybe, but it'll be a great story.
Exactly, and like just everybody, there's lots of footage of me. There's here you can. Somebody will put together.
We've got lots
memorial.
of a great reel for Fine Shannon. It'll be such a good story. It could be what bolsters you really.
Right. All of a sudden, I'm like, dun, dun,
kidnapped for 2 weeks and back now at the hit Amazon Prime series.
I'm like, let me tell my story.
Oh my God.
How authentic would that be?
Who can we pay? We have a lot of shady comedian friends.
Pretend.
We could totally have somebody do this. We probably should do this because then it'll be, if you do go missing,
nobody's going to look for me. They're going to think it's, okay.
She plotted
if
with Wendy
I ever
Maybury.
Disappear, I really am disappeared. It's not a prank. It's not a prank.
Just so you know, and I'm in on it. She's telling the truth. Oh
I
my
hope
God.
that we are not. We need to go knock on some wood that I don't.
I know, right? We just asked Jesus to do math. That's totally a Southern thing too.
Yeah.
You better go knock on something.
Oh my God, I have
on the way home. You better go. Because do you ever pre-pray before you're set for things you're about to say? Like, hey God, I'm just kidding. For the next half hour, don't hold this against me if we meet later in life.
I am not asking for any of these negative things to happen, or because I'm talking about somebody.
Just making jokes.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
But I think that's also a big thing is not about what makes you you. Is that you just brought up praying. There are a lot of things from when I grew up because of the upbringing I had, and I grew up in this, in this Christian household and was really churchy and all these things. And, but it was a combination of Christian and kind of voodoo-y because we were from the South too.
Yeah.
That people don't know all of the things that are churning in your head that help you make every decition that you have to make every day.
Yeah, that's true. I think, well, that's a good one too. You just never know what someone's background is. It's really easy to look at people and think, this, for example, I've come up to some Minnesota women that come at me with some judgments, and they think that I'm them.
Right.
And I'm like, hey, I've lived a lot of places. I'm a lot older than you are. I have different experiences. My heart's at a different spot than what you might be thinking about. So that just speaks to the fact that you should always keep an open mind with anybody, and also not be so quick to judge. So one of my favorite stories about doing comedy at the Joke Joint was I was working with a comedian who by all accounts is a totally shady dude.
Right.
Not a nice guy. Now I'm slightly off color on stage because I just think it makes me laugh to talk about things you wouldn't talk about at work, right? He's super clean on stage, super squeaky clean. So on stage, super squeaky clean. Off stage, horrible human. Right. I'm the opposite, a little bit dirty on stage, really nice girl. Anyway, so we got the reviews afterwards. What actually happened was the church was interviewing to work there, and no one told me there was an entire church in the audience. I did a joke about being a Jesus cougar, where I joked that I'm already, my aunts told me to marry Jesus. I'm older than Jesus was when he died. They'd make me a Jesus cougar. My pastor laughs at that joke. It's fine, right? The church was quiet. I read the audience wrong. I thought they didn't like Christianity. So I said, guess y'all hate Jesus. Let's talk about my underwear. Wrong move. I just dug a hole deeper. Like it was like, we couldn't hate you more. The hatred was just coming out. Then I like have worst set ever, right? Yeah. Get off stage. Other guy comes on that's not a nice guy, kills because he's talking about like, whatever. I'm not even gonna do his jokes. Right. Well, they write these comment cards. Wendy Maybury is a horrible person. What a terrible influence, blah, blah, blah. And then they take the headliner. What an outstanding. I'm like, are you kidding? Right. He's already calling someone on his phone to like do horrible things. Yes. Like, I'm going home to my kid. Right. It's just, I just try really hard not to judge people on what they make jokes about. You really don't know who they are. Right. And you see it right now in this sort of like internet media deal where it's like, you made a joke about that? I'm so upset. You're a horrible human. Right. It's like, you don't even know what made them write that joke. Exactly. There's a joke on my album really fast. I lived in Minneapolis for many years. I lived in North Minneapolis. We had a police shooting on my block. Right. I wrote a joke about it because that's my way of processing pain. Exactly. I'm a little worried now. It's 4 years away, and now we've had this whole new deal in Minneapolis of what's happened. That people might look at that joke and go, "Are you making light of this?" Right. No, I wasn't. Right. I was talking about the horror of have it happening on my block. Right. When I had an infant. Exactly. As a single mom with no guy in the house, which makes you somehow feel safer. Right. So it just
I think
things
that's fair, though. It's really important to go, we don't know where we're at when we make these jokes, but, reminding people that we are the kind of people that can process it through humor, and a lot of people don't understand how you grow that muscle of going, no, I mean, things that might seem horrible to somebody else that are going into my life or would never be funny, I get to a joke really fast. Like, it might be gross on this side, and then 30 minutes later, I have some funny kernel in it.
But that's your way of owning it. That's what people don't get too. So when you feel powerless about something that happened to you, when you make a joke, now you are claiming it and going, yeah, I'm making a joke about it. I'm standing on it. Right. So like this weekend when someone called me aging comedian, I'm like, that is my new intro.
Exactly.
Like, I am getting older and I'm still vertical. Suck it.
Right,
you know, like so that's my way of, it really hurt my feelings, so I'm going to turn it into a joke. Right. So when you see comedians make jokes about that, I hope that people take a little sense of that is their defense mechanism.
Well, Wendy, I am aging right along with you. So
I know, and you're beautiful.
Oh, thank you. And so are you. I agree. It is the mutually beautiful society is what we'll start together.
Well, Shannon, you have helped me, because if you remember, when I started stand-up, you pulled me aside and went, can we talk about your clothes? And I was so grateful. She did, and she goes, can we shop together? Can we have a conversation?
I'll go with you.
I know. So Miss Shannon tries not to let anyone look bad around her. You make everyone around you more beautiful.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it, and congratulations on your album. As we were doing this, it's still #1, so congratulations, and thank you for being part of our show.
Thanks, Shannon. I would hug you if not for COVID.
Air elbows. There we go.